Good morning, everyone. GST Speaking Study Circle welcome you today for today's webinar on big data analytics and its use in business applications by Mr. Vaibhav Pratap Singh. As a professional in every offices on day-to-day basis, we are required to analyze data, and there are huge, large files that we need to analyze and come to the conclusions. So we usually use some of the Excel shortcuts, VLOOKUPs and everything, but how efficient can we use this data analytics? So today we have Mr. Vaibhav Pratap Singh, from whom we will learn how to analyze big data files. Vaibhav, welcome you on board.
Thank you, Kanika.
So before you start, let me introduce you to the audience. Vaibhav Pratap Singh is Master in Science in Big Data and Analytics. He is a commerce graduate. He is solution architect intern at Amazon Web Services. He is aspiring data scientist and big data analyst. He is business process automation consultant. He has also been a CA aspirant. He is currently working on Aadhaar and IT-enabled own projects for digital voting rights to be given to people and spreading awareness to directly become partner in nation building. Vaibhav is also working on office management software and solutions for CA firms. Besides that, he is a great cricket enthusiast and beginner level guitar and piano player. So Vaibhav, welcome you again, and over to you, Vaibhav.
Thank you for such a warm welcome. And I welcome all the audience who is present in today's webinar. So let me just start with it. So before starting, I would like to clear one thing. This webinar won't be like that. I'm just doing a mimic kind of a thing. Like it's a classroom. Like it won't be like a classroom where it is written big data, and big data, it is the term for collection of data sets so large and complex that it becomes difficult to process the data. So this session is not gonna be like that. It will be attractive, interactive, active, and I request all the participants to be active on chat and keep responding to my question and your queries. You can also post your questions and your queries, and I will be responding to that as well. So my humble request is to all the attendees, be participative. Then only I will be able to deliver the right message which I am intending. So let's start it officially now once again. So I will start with a quote. Data is the new oil. How many of you believe it's true, or you can just write in comment box key, do you believe, agree with that or not? Are we getting any comments on that?
It's a yes.
And I just meanwhile people are commenting, I would just like to add few more thing about that. It is not my quote or my line, data is the new oil. It is written by famous scientists and applied by very well-known business group of India. You can see Reliance Industry has shifted most of the business from oil to data only. You can see the amount of investment it has received during this pandemic period, which is largely based on the GeoMart, and there they will be using heavily data for effective business practices. So, and one more thing, data is different from oil, that it can be reproduced, which we can't do in the case of oil. And another beautiful thing about data is that apart from reproducing it, we can store for long term. You can see the example during this pandemic only, uh, crude oil prices crashed, but we were unable to take the advantage of that because we don't have any large storage capacity. But that's not the case with data. So data is the new oil for 21st century business. So let me, is my PPT visible to all? You can respond in
Yes,
chat
yes,
box.
Vaibhav, it's visible to everybody.
So it's a data from Government of India, and they have mentioned that India's average per user consumption was 62 MB in 2014, which has now increased to 9.1 GB per month. And I'm talking about the normal average user, which data which we use on our phones only. So I'm not very high, our audience is mostly from CA background, and they are very high on computational logic, and they can find. So can anyone just calculate me कि अगर इंडिया में 27 करोड़ का, एज पर 2019 डेटा का मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, 27 करोड़ यूजर्स थे और उनकी एवरेज थी 9 GB पर मंथ, and if you multiply it by 12, how large data it becomes. And I'm talking about just the normal user only. If you add to the fact that this data, this slide doesn't show that key data from various organizations like ERPs and offices is not clubbed with that. So you can see how large data we are generating, and that's why we need technology called big data analytics to process that, to store that, and to make good business application out of that. So can anyone in comment box calculate कि one year में Indian average user ने कितना data consume किया? I will tell all these figures in later slide, but just for the sake of interest, if anyone can answer. My only humble request from audience is to be participative and keep responding. Then I will be able to deliver my message better.
Someone wrote 18 lakh.
18 lakh. And what is the 18 lakh GB? Right?
Yes.
So you can just imagine how large data it is. And if you calculate it worldwide, then we will hardly be able to calculate it. So I will tell later on that how much data we are generating on world level also. So just let me go through next slides. So next slide is, how do we classify any data as a big data, and how do we know which data is going to be a big data? So there are 5 properties of data which makes it a big data. So we will be studying that. I know it's a bit theoretical, but in order to make a sound understanding about it, I need to tell these some little kind of technical things to you in easy layman language, which you can understand and relate easily. So out of 5 V's of big data is volume, and by 2020 you can see the number 44 trillion gigabyte. It's 20 times more than our GDP, and it has exponential rise unlike our GDP. So I'm saying these terms only on a lighter note only, just to make an impact how long data is. Earlier, we used to measure data in terabytes. Everyone must be aware of that. I have 1 disk, 1 TB of a hard drive or 2 TB. But nowadays, since data is so large, the parameters, the units which are used to measure data are petabytes, exabyte, and it goes up to zettabytes. If you will try to find out the zero behind these numbers, it will be quite a task. Even I can't also do that. So my only objective is to realize that how big data it is, and it has increased 44 times since in a year of 11 years, from 2009 to 2020, from zero point 0.8 zettabytes to 35 zettabytes. Second V is variety. What variety means, that is very interesting and very important concept. Variety, there are basically three kinds of data. So one is structured data, second is semi-structured data, and third is unstructured data. Can anyone have the idea what is structured data, or have you used it? You can tell in comment box. Is everyone sleeping in audience? I know it's a weekend evening,
I
and
think
even
all the audience is all attentive and
okay.
busy and asking their questions, but they are a bit afraid of, you know, hearing the terms gigabytes and all that. So they are not
They
responding
are
to what you
getting
are asking.
afraid by size. Okay, no issue. So just I'm moving forward. Structured data is most commonly used, or in recent times or technology, up to what level of technology we are using. So mostly we use structured data. Structured data means where data of schema is drawn. Again, it's a very technical term. If you called a technical term structured data, then you defined it as a schema. So I'm explaining it in a layman language. The schema of data, it means where you can identify the format of data, like a tabular data, where you can punch a data in row or column, like some numerical value or some string value also, like we do in Excel. We can store data in a tabular format where we can just put all the data there. And second is semi-structured data. Do anyone have idea about semi-structured data and its type? I know everyone must have used it
It's
in articles.
semi-structured data where it is where duplicate columns are in the data. Yeah.
Okay, so good. It's good that someone is answering, but let me explain it better. Have you all noticed the problem of interface change? Like if I was working in X software, say called Tally, and then I have to move it on SAP, so I can't access the files directly. So it generates. Then what we have to do? Then we generate data in a semi-structured form, like CSV file, so that we can directly import the CSV file in our another softwares, and that runs, and that data starts running on there. And similar to, there are two more kinds of files in semi-structured data. One is XML, which you use in all the income tax filing, and XML is basically a language where data is written in a format that other formats or anyone accessing it, or any device accessing it, can receive it in a way that what it was written from the source. And then another form of it is JSON file. Everyone must have uploaded the JSON file while preparing the GSTR1. So that is also same thing. Data is written in form of some codes, and that we can use in another platforms also. So, and most important thing is, and which area, and one area of big data which is not much explored by us or even in offices, is unstructured data. What does it mean? everyone use audio, video, images, log files, big files, large files, but how do we make analysis of it and how we can use it for the analysis and business purpose? So we are using it right now, but we are not using it in a way that we can have analysis of it. So big data analytics majorly focuses on these unstructured data only. How it does that and what are the parameters and how it goes, I will explain that in later slides. So for now, just have a sound understanding, because this concept will be again clubbed with another slide. So we have three kinds of data: structured data, where we can use the data in tabular form, or any other manner where we can uh, uh, put data, our data in a kind of a structure. Then there is semi structured data, to move data from one platform to another platform, and that is easily readable by the IT languages. And then another is unstructured data, long data, which includes audio, video, images. Third V of big data is velocity. So velocity, what velocity means, that speed at which data is being collected or generated. So in since the 4G, Wi-Fi and 5G, all other network providers are there and technologies are there, we are able to generate the data at a very fast speed. So it becomes very difficult to perform some analytical tools from velocity generated data. If I take a just example, suppose I am a movie multiplex owner. Suppose I am a multiplex owner, and I was showing in a table that there are 20 seats open, and that data keeps changing every second that someone booked. And what if someone booked the tickets and actual seat remaining were 15, but my data was showing me only 20? Then it will make a hierarchy. Everyone will start fighting and all. So we need to ensure that we are able to capture the velocity of data, so that we can process data on real time basis. Next is veracity. Veracity is again a very technical term, so I have uh, make easy kind of terms which you can understand, like authentication. Just tell me one thing: if I say data is the new oil, तो अब कुछ लोग शायद मेरी बात मान लेंगे, लेकिन ज्यादा लोग मेरी बात क्यों मानेंगे? But if a data scientist or someone like Mukesh Ambani ji says that ki data is the new oil and we are going to work on that, ki how we can make it to our use. So that increases the authenticity of data. Another example is that I have uploaded a data of COVID-19 patients, like there are currently 2 lakh patients, and if government have updated same data on their side, then it automatically increases the authenticity. You can rely on that data more than my data. Then another is origin and reputation. Reputation means duplicacy of data. We keep sharing same text message to everyone, like in the form of daily good morning and good night messages. So it creates the reputation of data. Same data is being circulated over a period of time to number of users. Then there is availability. What availability means, what if अगर मैं आपसे कहूँ कि आज मैंने डेटा मैंने कोई दिया और मैंने इसमें कहा कि like I have 100 seats available, और वही सेम डेटा आपको दूसरे प्लेटफॉर्म पे कह रहा है कि यार यहाँ पे 100 नहीं, यहाँ पे तो 50 सीट्स हैं, या वो ये कह रहा है कि कुछ टाइम तक के लिए तो वो डेटा 100 विजिबल था, बट आफ्टर सम टाइम it got disappeared, I can't see the data, I can't access the data. Then what? So availability is very critical term, where data should be consistent in nature, that is it is same for all, and it is available without any downtime. Like it should not be like that ki this data won't be available for this particular time, or data got erupted at a particular moment. So these were two: availability and trustworthy. Now moving next. Value. That is the most critical part where our focus, being a finance profession, should be we should focus more. Like I have got the big data and all that, but it's not relevant for me. It's irrelevant for me if I can't understand it, or I can't do any processing out of it. So for that, data is classified as the big data if we can use it, and it is generating a value to organization, customer, or any stakeholder. It should have some value. For that, to generate the value and know its impact, most of the data analytics technologies are used. Moving further, just a recap, 5 V's of big data, which I have already told you: volume, velocity, value, veracity, and variety. And our topic is big data analytics. So I have to explain what is big data, and I hope everyone is clear of that, what is big data. So just let me give a brief about analytics. Analytics means, traditionally what we do is, and as per my experience, I'm stating this fact only. You people might disagree that. As per my experience, as working as an article in a CA firm, it was that most of the time we were using on historical data, or sometime only we were doing on some batch data. And there is a concept called batch data and real data, which everyone must have understood that. So most of the time we were able to we were working on historical data and then batch data. And what does it mean? So we can understand the data, like these are the financials of company, and this is the balance sheet position of company, and then we are good enough to understand what does it mean. But what about making a future prediction out of it? What about how we can analyze it and use the same data to predict the future, and what kind of sales growth we are expecting, what kind of revenue growth we are expecting, and what kind of financial position I am expecting from this organization. So there comes the analytics part, which analyze the trends, interesting facts from the historical and batch data, and due to that we can make future prediction out of that. If I give another example of that, like everyone must have listened the COVID-19 curve, which we are listening very frequently nowadays. What does it mean? We have studied the data, let's say from 22nd of March to 30th of April. Then we had applied some IT technical and statistical modeling approaches, and then when we got an estimate ki if we keep on increasing by that speed at this number of time or that period of time, this will be the number of COVID-19 patients. So what does it mean? We can we can make the decision making out of it. And how we can do? If I got to know that there will be sharp increase in number of patients, and by that this will be the number, then government can plan accordingly, managing the health infrastructure, facilities, and vaccination guidelines, and other thing related to it. So that's why it becomes very important to do both the things, analysis part and analytics part, so that we can make some useful information from the past data to move in future. Moving further, these are the domains where we use big data analytics. So just for the quick example, like healthcare, I have already told the COVID-19 situation and other various researches. Then telecommunication, we all know that how number of users filed, what between telecom operators are going on, and what data they uses for this purpose, and what we can do from it. Insurance company, we have a good example in insurance company about like paisabazar.com. they use these technology to get some data and make some predictions out of it. Then there is finance, automobile finance. We will talk in detail since we are majorly from finance industry. So I have made a separate slide ki how we can use in our terms. So I will have a detailed discussion on it on later slides. And let's take the another area domain like automobile, where they are working on the selfless car or driverless parking. We must have heard the terms like that, how they do and what they does. If anyone have doubt, then I can explain, although I will cover a bit small part of it in the later slides. But if anyone have any doubt, then they can ask, I will answer. Then we all know ki, since the pandemic, our online we have shifted completely on the online mode for the education purpose. So there we can use it for the very positive impact. And till now, if anyone have question, then let me know. I will clear the doubt if anyone have. No doubt. So should I move further?
Yes. Vaibhav, there is a question. Please explain how automobile sector is using it.
I have covered it in later part, so I will request him to wait. And if it's still he doesn't get the clarity, then I will explain the logic and technologies behind how they do it. So
Thank you.
thank you
Thank you.
for asking. And
So I request all the attendees to join and have patience. All your questions will be covered in this webinar, today's webinar.
let them keep asking them. Just make a note of it. I will address all of them.
Oh.
So I am moving further. So I have taken the small case that don't assume anything. If that much we can do out of big data only. So I'm just giving a very small layman language example where you can get the clarity what can happen. Then I will further explain its practical and bigger uses also. Uh, if we take the example of smart meter reading, nowadays we have noticed a shift that our electricity bill reading is automatically generated by itself, and no one comes to take the reading and no one comes to give the bill. Although it may vary from the places, like it's not happening in across all across India. Not every electricity company provider is doing, but in some areas it is happening. So how do they do it, and what is the advantage from both ends? I'm just explaining these. Like, so there are some sensors. So basically these sensors captures the data, and these sensors are basically that smart meter will be called as IoT. That is very common term which everyone must have come across. IoT means Internet of Things. In simple language, any machinery where we can use some IT techniques to make it able to process or collect or store data by itself by using some sensors and IT technology. So since it is reading gets generated automatically, so what is the advantage from admin angle? Grid matlab electricity company can monitor the position of their grid, what is the exact load uh, present there. They can get it on real time basis. Then it won't happen like that कि वो कोई आकर के मुझे रीडिंग बताएगा, then I will club all the data and calculate the amount, and उसके बाद पता लगेगा कि ये क्या हुआ. This happens automatically, and they are getting updated by each second you can. So what it has done, since they can process the near real-time data, then they can process it and respond to it very faster, at very faster rate. Their response time have gone down significantly. And if I take the example of one situation which happened recently during the lockdown only, there was the second task by our honorable Prime Minister ji, that we have to switch off the all the lights of our house at 9 p.m. and then we have to lighten up the diyas. So there was a very concern, very long concern, ki what if, since all the electricity consumption will be shut down automatically, then what if the grid fails? Then it will take a long time and loss of energy and a lot of money to recover the grid. So what they can do now? So they estimated using these technologies ki what will be the uh, impact of a loss of consumption and how they can tackle it, since they got the data ki we need to take care of this much of power loss and at this time and at this rate. So they were prepared to handle it on they were prepared, and that's why there was no grid failure. If you remember the one situation which happened in 2011 and 12, that out of sudden all the electricity power was gone from whole country. So that happened due to because they were unable to analyze data. They don't have the exact information what they need to manage. That's why big data analytics is very critical tool in having a decision making. And we were taking the sorry we were understanding the benefits from organization level. Now let's understand from user level also. Inconsistency or overbilling or error kind like ki lineman came late to read the meeting, then I got less time to pay the bill, I was not aware of that, and that's why I failed to make the payment, and due to that there was a great loss for the electricity company, and they were unable, their revenue, there was some delay in payment receiving. So for user, they now they can get the intimation through mails, messages ki what is their bill, reading gets automatic. So and this has overall increased the user experience. Just give me a second. Okay, sorry for the interruption. I'm back. So we have just understood the a very small example of a digital meter or a smart meter, you can say. Now let's understand what are the opportunities available as a big data analytics. So first thing we can do is cost reduction. Cost reduction, in previous example, I failed to mention one thing, that electricity company was able to manage the reduce their operating overhead and also the loss of power, which they were unable to track ki these these units are running running itself and no one is using it, or it's a daytime but still street lights are on. So they have achieved a significant reduction in cost due to this big data analytics technology. Now decision making are faster and better, and we can provide the next generation products. We can provide improved services and products, and what are those, what kind of those are, I will explain that in detail in further slides also. So now if I talk about the some advantages where these kind of analytical technologies are being used right now and what kind of impact they are creating. So like I'm telling you one very interesting story ki how it can make the government organization smarter and efficient. There was a crime which happened in Maharashtra state uh, about a year and a half ago, and there was no clue available ki how they can catch who were the culprits. So they were Maharashtra is large state, large number of people have no clue. Then how they will do that? So at the spot, matlab crime spot, they got a button, and there was a label in button. I'm not telling the story of CID. I'm telling you a real story, a real example which had happened in our crime department only. So they got a small button where the label of a manufacturer were mentioned. So department did what? They try to know the where this department is based and where these manufacturers are, matlab where they manufacture this button. So they try to get an idea. Then they got ki, yeah, there is a manufacturing plant, and there is this, there is that. So their search from whole Maharashtra shifted to a particular region. It was a not a very renowned brand. It was a small brand only. So they were able to identify that these five cities can be the target. Now now the department got stuck. There were no clue for any further what do next. So what they did, they asked they took the help from the one of the e-commerce platform provider, and they asked, just let me know ki this brand buttons or this brand of shirt was sold to how many people. Then they got the data ki ki in this time few peoples and these number of peoples used it. Then again they got stuck in now what to do next. They got, yeah, that was a big list. Then what to do next? Then due to the help of big data technology, they were able to identify. They noticed that out of these list of, let's say, 5,000 people, there were two people who have purchased knife, a very sharp knife, at same time. So they started tracing ki, okay, let's catch this person. Then they their investigations got a very accepted to very few people, and they started researching on it, and they then later on they find that then they have caught them, and then they have interrogated, and the crime mystery was solved, and the case got completed, which normally does not happens in India. So that was the big advantage. Now you will be asking, yeah, you are giving the example of crime and all, why it is relevant for me. So the same technology I will be explaining it, ki how we can use it in the fraud detection while we are auditing, specifically in the case of forensic auditing, where we are supposed to do the investigation. So I will tell in detail ki what technology they use and how they came to know ki that was happened by them. So okay, I will tell that. Then another example is that I have later mentioned that ki data is oil. Now let's, we all know ki customer is God. So we need to understand the customer preferences. What is the my customer? I need to understand. That's why we fill in every organization KYC, know your customer. But how we can do it digitally? Let's take the example of Amazon. Amazon have large number of consumers which who keep purchasing or making the orders on regular basis. But you will notice one thing, कि once you type something in Google like I want to buy a cricket bat, so and you search on a website, then automatically you will notice after some time you will you will start getting the product recommendation of cricket bat in Amazon. How does it happen? There is another technique called clustering and all, that is also covered. I'm saying this to everything, but I will cover that. Just be patient. And another thing, Amazon have to take the decision on the number of vendors, number of product, number of storage capacity which is required depending on the availability of order customers. Then they can all easily do that by this big data analytics technique. I have already explained about the cost reduction. Then here comes the another point about next generation product, where I have mentioned that selfless driver's car, and someone asked the query ki how they do and how it happens. So I'm explaining it ki how they happen. Just let me know कि अगर आपको गाड़ी चलानी है, तो आपको कार चलानी है या कार पार्क करनी है, तो आप कैसे सीखते हो? Can anyone answer? Okay, I'm moving further. So it's very simple, like how a human understand things and how he does that out of experience. अगर मैंने 4 बार कार चलाई, 10 बार कार चलाई, then I will start getting the idea कि हाँ कार ऐसे चलाते हैं, ऐसे पार्क करते हैं और ऐसे होता है. Same logic is applied on selfless cars also. What they do, there is a technology called machine learning. What machine learning is, we train the machines in a manner that they can perform like human. And how do we that? We perform some test data, and out of which जस्ट लाइक वी अंडरस्टैंड कि एक बार चलाया तो ये समझ आया, अगली बार चलाया ये समझ आया, अगली बार ये समझ आया, तो देन वी कीप ऑन ट्रेनिंग अवर डेटा, and we just keep on training our data till a moment that we make a function where it works almost perfectly or very high with very high accuracy. So that is the model which is applied in the selfless cars and selfless parking. I hope I am able to answer the query of someone who asked. And I can matlab, since our topic is very limited to it, otherwise I have shown some examples how we practically do train the data, how we develop the machine learning algorithms, which I have told just now. So but right now it will be a very technical term and very technical process in which you may find it really difficult and may lose interest, so I'm not going on that. But the concept behind is that, like, a human understand everything, get knowledge from the experience and use, and out of which they develop the understanding ki if this type of situation arises, then how I have to respond. The same phenomena is also there. It's just we are training the machines. We have already covered what is big data analytics, that a data which is so large that traditional processing systems are unable to handle. And why we do that? To make the better understanding and all the other better decision making and all the other advantage which I have explained earlier. Now I have mentioned some other use cases there they can relate the audience. I know these examples are not directly related to the finance, but why still I am covering those is that my topic is big data analytics, and I don't want to do the injustice with this topic by only telling you the smaller examples or smaller use only. So I'm giving it a broad overview in what kind of business it's we are doing. Then I will specifically cover the finance profession. So security and law enforcement, that was a big data was one of the important use was, or one of the first use was done by the US agencies. They used to identify the like, or you can say make the profile of crime or a person who were convicted or they were involved in crime, so that they can easily identify ki if something wrong has happened, then what is the tendency, and then whom they can go, or they can have some idea ki then whom they can catch. customers requirement understanding. Now I will tell you the exact algorithm which I have already mentioned there, how they do that. So for understanding the customer requirement, just take the simple advantage of market basket analysis. Just let me confirm I am not missing something. Okay, I have covered everything. So coming back to this customers requirement understanding, what we do is there is a term called market basket analysis, and this is also again based on the basis of how humans used to do. So like you take the example of a grocery store. When we go and to buy a grocery, then there are several products, many products, and what happens ki there is a well proven science behind it ki, like suppose I have gone to purchase the milk, there is the high tendency that I will be purchasing eggs or bread along with milk also. So what they can do, that they can make a basket where all these three things are put together in a product, and they display it in a place where customer can use it easily. And how it is applied on our data, if you take the example of online shopping, you have purchased, if you have purchased the mobile, they will automatically suggest you, users have also bought this together, like earphone or charger or any other accessories. So in by using this technology, the sales of all the three products can be increased, and they can advertise for each other. That is the advantage of that, and it directly increases the sales, which directly increases the revenue of organization. Then there is the concept of smart cities and country improvement. We all know that there is a initiative called smart city and all. Then how do we do use big data in that? If to plan and develop a smart city, we need to consider many factors, many things, many uh, areas. So what we can do, because of previous experience of other developed cities, we can take an estimate like if a population number goes by this, then we need to have this number of highway or this number of water resources or this number of things. So it can be in the thoughts of government, and they can plan accordingly and develop the city accordingly, so that they don't need to adjust in the later stage that I have made a bridge which can carry the 100 vehicles only, and now I have realized that there are 500 vehicles only. Although it's not very well implemented here, but they have just started to begin. Then there is a concept called financial trading and forecasting, which is of very much of interest of ours. So then I will give two examples here, one for trading and one for investment. Like for trading, what we do, everyone must have seen the visual data graphs like candle chart, REC marks. Then these are developed on the basis of some mathematical function, statistical function with the big data technology, that we analyze the past history trend, and then we try to have an idea or predict then what can happen in the market and what can happen in a particular stock. So we just try to get an idea or insight about that. That's why we keep checking 52-week high, low, and P ratio and other things. We can do that. And since I should not comment like this, but I'm not a big fan of trading. I am more in investing. So how you can utilize that in investing? Like if you have to understand the an organization, then there what you can do is, then you can study their previous financial, use big data applications, and you can get the idea ki their performance, and then these technologies are already available. What difference big data is making, that what you can do is that, like if I take the example of GeoMart, like what you can do here is, you can get the idea of market size on or a customer base available to the participant, to the company. Then you can get the idea ki, oh, they can capitalize this kind of market, then this kind of number of users can be used, then you can do for fundamental analysis of the company that whether I should invest it or not. So in that way it helps. Then it reduces the redundancy in business processes and uh, make it optimized and improved. Then there is the concept of personal quantification, performance optimization. How we can do that? Nowadays everyone must be using calendar. Then there are some technologies where we can apply, we can monitor our progress, that this number of time, at this number of time, that much work I have done, or that much time of I have given to family or work or my physical strength or health related time. So you can analyze your body, understand your body well, and understand your life better. Then there is another example of improving healthcare and public sector, which I have already mentioned, like COVID case or research going on. Then we can use it on the sports and games. Since I am a fan of both, so how we can use it in sports, like in tennis, they have started to measure the force angle, at what force, what speed this player plays, then how we can counter that to get some statical advantage, ki this player performs like this or plays like this, so we can counter him like that. And a player can also measure own performance by the past records. And one of another use it's that right now in the test match between England and West Indies, you can see the experience, a virtual experience of audience is being created. If there was the audience, then how they would have reacted, responded, or cheered a team or player or what. And then all we know in games, that all the games are developed by IT techniques, coding only, be it PUBG or any other game, all are done in that. Then we can also use in surveys and research. Then there is another thing which we can do is to understand the sentiment analysis and have the survey. If a company wants to know their feedback, so there is one option, just give a rating out of 1 to 5 and they get an idea, but they don't get the idea what areas they are doing good and what areas they need to improve. Then what they can do uses to understand, to do is sentiment analysis, or you can say the survey analysis. Like what, uh, users have, lots of users have given their reviews. So what big data does, they collect all the reviews from all the users. Then there is a keyword searching. You must have heard keyword searching in the filter of a resume. Same thing is applied here, or you can see that, take example, like if we type in Google, if I have written suppose www.mygovernment.org, then they will search only related to my gov, matlab what I have provided, what I have provided for this my gov. Then there will be similar results related to my gov, or my gov as a whole. Or if I type cricket, then there will be similar type of search available on that. So that is called keyword search. And uh, how it can be used in our CA profession, I will give you a very classic, very good example of that. And I hope if that is implemented, it will solve the many problems of CA industry. So now I am coming to the main topic. What are my views and how I see what can be the possible use in CA industry and finance. So I have mentioned already in earlier discussion that there are three kinds of data: structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. So mostly finance industry or CA community uses the relational data, tabular data, numeric data, which is structured data. So they are working, there are some tools and technology already available there, and they are up to you can say up to a satisfactory level tools are available there. But what else it can be done here? I will give you the few examples. Like just tell me in the comment box कि like being a professional, अगर मुझे कोई audit करनी है, suppose I was appointed by the department to conduct the GST audit. If government have issued the orders ki we want to have its further audit, so can you anyone tell any mechanism or any solution ki how they can use HSN to identify the probable tax evasion or income tax evasion if department wants to perform some tax evasion tools, then how they can do anyone have idea? I'm waiting. If anyone have idea, then they can tell. Otherwise, I will respond to what can be the possible solution of it. Okay, then let me answer only. So what we can do, like if
used again.
Sorry.
However, we got a response. This is the using the rate against that HSN in the invoices of the person whom we are conducting audit for, and the rate as specified by the government, CBC.
That is one of the ways where you can just check the rates, rate is applied properly or not. But what if HSN called 4001 was purchased 80% of purchases of H 4001, and but our outward supply data says that we are issuing the HSN of 8001 series. Then can this logic will be applied there if both have the same rate? Can they analyze anything? How can they track this? What if basically what I want to say is that if two HSN have same rate, then how will you monitor that? And what if and how long you will be using or you will be conducting checking the rates which are applied properly or not if I am someone like Amazon, where transactions are at large scale and large number of transactions are there. So let me explain how we can do that. So in order to handle this, what we can do, the idea which someone has mentioned in the answer key, that we will apply the rate and HSN code and then map that. Similar kind of practice we will use, but we will use it in another way. Like what we will do, like I have mentioned the keyword there, then we will make a unique ID of combining these keywords and all, and then we will analyze the data of similar kind of organizations which are in same industry or same organization in the previous months or previous time. Then what we will try to identify here, that if this number of raw materials or this number of HSN was present in this amount, then usually my product of this HSN should be in this ratio, and other products can be in this ratio and this ratio. So we can compare it from within organization, from its previous records, from the industry available, and then we can do it efficiently with even the large number of data. I'm talking about Amazon level. Then we can use, there are some technical terms called triggers, they are used. Then we just map these thing, and then another technology used here is MapReduce. Then what they do, that they kind of give me the summary or extract from various things that this should be like this and this should be like that, then we can manage this thing. Then there will be always the other parameters which will be including like professional judgment of auditor. These kind of things you can already do, but my main concern is that you can already use the big data technology to understand the data and understand the particular pattern if there is something going wrong against that pattern, and how tax department like income tax can do that. If a person have filled simply his income as 5 lakh rupees and he has told that I have made 1 lakh rupees of deduction in the form of education, and then this is my monthly expense, all these kind of a thing, then government uh, say that or fight कि नहीं नहीं यार ये चीज इतनी नहीं, ये इतनी होनी चाहिए, या ऐसे नहीं है वैसे होने चाहिए. Can government do anything in that? Then they can again do the same thing, analyze the data of similar class of people, and then make a comparison, and if they found something is missing or something is abnormal, then they can use it. And then again the concept of which I have already mentioned at the crime detection, कि what was done there कि मतलब कि someone had purchased knife and button and they were able to identify. And what if a government is able to track like that, a same person has posted some pics on social media that he has purchased a new car, but government is seeing that his income is this much like only, then how he can do that? Then what can big data's unstructured data can be used, and government can map it with they can estimate ki, like this can be the spending of this person which he is mentioning in other platforms, and this is the standard. So first standard is not matching with the other similar kind of salaried person or any other income person, and then he is also doing the same thing, then they can combine the both the things, and then they can get the clear idea that there might be the possibility of tax evasion, and they can call for further scrutiny and process, and they can matlab the chances of tax evasion will be very less. Government will be able to identify we tax basic matlab, as per my understanding, tax evasion happens because there is no mechanism of trapping it on time or tracking it on time. So another is in audit. How we can do it on audit? Like our standard of auditing also suggests that we have to use the previous experience of audit to, and we can and then we have to plan and perform or audit and make our audit plan. Then how we can do that? The same thing, same concept which I have mentioned earlier in driverless car, that there is a mechanism called learning from the experience. So same mechanism can be applied from the learning from previous audit experience, and we can apply it in same client, same type of client, or some processes can be similarly replicated in other clients also. What it will make, it will make decision making very easy. You will get to know that these will be the idea where risk assessment can be high. The one of the basic fundamental on which auditing is based, these can be the high risk significant areas, so we need to monitor those things more, and we can not go in detailed auditing in other less relevant or less material matters. And that it will make you help in a timely completion of audit also, which I feel as per my experience is a complaint from clients or uh, from a CA professional. Then another thing is data mining fraud detection. Just take an example of data mining and fraud detection. Like in credit card, if that is not directly related with credit card, but I will tell you how it can be related in our work. data mining can be used like in, if we have to analyze the bank statement, there are lakhs of transaction, and I'm able to identify, and in manual tracing I may miss many things, many factors. Then what we can do is we can apply the data mining techniques. And what is data mining? Data mining is getting a useful information or interesting pattern or interesting fact from a large amount of data. And how it does, let me give you the example. I have coded it practically, so ignore the code part, that is a bit complex thing, but I will tell you the try to make you visualize key in results how it happened. Like check this. These are the codes how we perform. Like I'm just giving you a overview that you can get this some idea ki how these are things. And then there are some code and steps which we follow. Then large code, it's a large code. Can you see this clusters? What you can identify from these clusters is that if a transaction or something uh, is out of these clusters, then it means that uh, it has similar kind of transaction, and it has behaved like most of the our transactions have done. And can you notice the black spots here and there? What are those? Can anyone have idea what are those? Okay, let me explain only. So suppose if there were three types of rates. Suppose yellow one was 5% and blue was 12. Sorry, green was 12 and that purple was of 18. Then if the transaction is performing in this area only, or if I take the example of bank statement transaction, they are performing with the similar kind of similar nature of things, then they will be clubbed automatically clubbed like in within a cluster, which will be most appropriate from them. But what about these dots and here there? It means that they are not performing, or their behavior is different from the available three types of clusters. So what does it mean? It means that we can directly have a detailed scrutiny or detailed view on these type of transactions. We can trace it ki just focus, there are the high possibilities ki that these transactions are not done correct manner or that incorrect, because they are not following the pattern. If they were following the available kind of pattern, they must have been grouped in a cluster with which they resembles. So now you got the idea ki that these are the transactions which can be uh, which can be a bit doubtful. But what if, can you tell the transaction कि ये transaction कहाँ से कहाँ हुआ, या how you can map that कि ये कैसे हुआ या क्या हुआ? So I am giving you the another part of it कि how another technique we can use कि to analyze the data points of these कि what they mean, कि how this transaction got started and how it went and how it reached and how it performed. So just wait a second. Can anyone, is this graph available, visible? Just let me know if the graph is visible, then I will explain.
Yes, this graph is visible.
So this graph is of basically tweet analysis. So what tweet analysis means ki matlab the we all know ki how frequently tweets are generated, and if we have to analyze ki that what was the source of this tweet and in which direction it moved, there are so many tweets, then how we can trail it. So similarly, there were so many transactions, we have identified the some doubtful transactions. Then what we can do is that you will must notice there are some big circles, big black spots available there. that black spots means there was high number of trades which were flowed, or high number of transactions which was moving from here. That was the one of the most triggering point or starting point of this thing. So we can pick that out of these both spots. We will analyze that in this direction there's a traveled the data. Uh, then we can identify that these were main plots. Then we can further, we will deepen down ki acha out of this in which direction it moved. Is this account a trustworthy account, or we are that is a good customer or anything like that. Then we will go to next trail ki, but this is doubtful, so maybe yahan se kuch hua ho. So we can follow the whole trail. We can make the whole trail, keep what has happened here, and then we can identify कि कहाँ पर क्या दिक्कत हो सकती है. तो in first step we identified कि what are the unusual transaction which have unusual behavior. Then we have identified कि in what ways or what direction it has moved. So we can track that, and that can be helpful in fraud detection. I have already mentioned, or that can also happen. It can be helpful in audit risk assessment. And another, with this same graph, I would like to draw attention to one of the other application. There is a very common problem कि आप लोगों को आइडेंटिफाई करने में ये बहुत दिक्कत आती है कि यार कोई ट्रांजेक्शन रिलेटेड पार्टी से कितने ट्रांजेक्शन हुए हैं, या कोई ऐसी रिलेटेड पार्टी तो नहीं है जो मेरे से मिसलीड की गई है या मुझे इन्फॉर्म नहीं किया गया है. Then what we can do? Then we can again apply the same plot. Then we will get the idea कि कैसे कैसे कितने कितने ट्रांजेक्शन कहाँ पर हुए हैं. Then again we will do the same thing कि we will analyze the most frequent. Then we will get the idea कि अच्छा ये transaction यहाँ से हुआ, but it is not directly moving in that way, but this is moving from that way, and that is a related party to it. Then we can identify कि अच्छा we need to take care of this transaction which was not earlier possible in our manual processing, because it took a lot of time, a lot of effort to identify and track the key how it has moved. So, and another real world example of this is called the graph database technology, common terminology, a common concept which is used. And what does it mean? Ki its practical application is, we all use Google Map. How Google Map know ki what is the best route possible for me, or what is the best solution possible for me? So Google Map know this by same thing कि like it has identified the nodes means कि any object कि like in 100 meter this is the object, and to my approximately from 100 meter these are the available other objects. Then there will be direction for each and every graph, each and every point, every so whatever the user picks ki I want to go this, then Google Map automatically diverts him from this place to this ki that will be the best use for it. So that is the advantage of this graph database, which I have already explained you. Then coming back to so another challenge is that key sometimes we have to analyze the debtor and creditor, or like we want to identify or review our debtor and creditor policy. So what we can do here is that there are large data. Then again what we'll do, we will take all the data, analyze their presence, and analyze their transactions from previous data, same type of industry or within organization over the other period of time, or if a X salesperson was associated with this data and data related to Y salesperson are behaving like this, then we can again analyze the same thing. Then we can again identify the same thing, what policy will we can use. Then another example of it can be like if I want to know ki I have to allow the credit to this data or not, then how we will do that. Then we can analyze its previous patterns of payment, receipt, bill generation, behavior. Then we can get the idea ki, like this we will gonna have it or not. And then again the fundamental behind is same कि like if I am the business owner और मुझे किसी को credit allow करना होता है तो how I do कि हाँ मेरे relation उसके साथ कैसे हैं, कैसे उसने मेरे साथ previously perform किया, कैसे कैसे business transaction हुए हैं, then I decide कि हाँ I have to credit of this limit on up to that period only. And another challenging thing which I used to face during my articles was there were very complex calculation of depreciation, and I have struggled a lot in what we can do here. So there is a technique called supervised machine learning. What is then now? What is this supervised machine learning? It is that we can understand the pattern from previous experience, and then we develop a model ki, if this kind of asset is there and it was availed or put to use in that number of time, then it can automatically calculate the depreciation and make the depreciation chart on real time basis by just entering the dates on the general entry. How we can do that? There is again there is a concept of triggers and keyword. Then what we will do, like I will specify a asset class that is a fixed asset and it was put to use in this. Then we will make a keyword of that key. If this happens, then this rate should be applied, and from that onwards it will automatically calculate the number of dates, and it will automatically calculate the depreciation. So in that way it can be very helpful. And another thing is that mostly as being a finance profession, we work on historical and batch data only. Real time data, uh, like if I want to know the my data on real time basis and I have X number of branches and different from location, then I have to wait they will update a sheet, then I will do it on my sheet, then we will compile the data, then we will make something. Or like if we have to make a consolidated financial statement, then what we do, then we have to again do the same process, take the data from various branches, various locations, compile the data, and it automatically becomes a tedious task and time lag is there. Then what we can do is that there is a concept of distributed processing on real time basis. What is that key? Like I am working on my system and thousands of people are working on same system. They are updating the data on same time and same data is updating. Then I will create a dashboard kind of a thing where all the data will be updated on real time basis, and it is updated there. There will not be even the gap of 1 minute in the updation time. Then how this happens, कि then you can say कि there may be complication कि that data is not updated or that is not updated. Then how we monitor that? Then there is a concept called log monitoring and timestamp. Timestamp means once a transaction is processed, there will be a time mentioned at that transaction, and that will be automatically get updated in a dashboard which I was mentioning on the basis of reverse time. Ki latest data will be available there, so we can do all these things on real time basis. And if we talk about the own practice angle, ki how it can benefit on my own practice, then there can be the CRM techniques can be applied, like automatic reminder, document alert. Like I have to mention the same kind of data to same kind of a client every month or every particular time, and mostly the data is same, date is same. Then what we can do is then we can combine these document and these products, and then we can uh, set a triggers. Then we can use a triggers ki if this and records are updated, then a trigger will happen, then it will send a mail to a client, and a replica will be created on my end, and I will be getting the information. Then this mail has been done. So that can significantly increase the our customer experience, users experience, client experience. And then another thing is, like whatever I have discussed, you must have got the idea that how relevant and how useful this big data can be in various businesses. Then if all the business are getting converted and adopted by the IT technology, then auditor also have to adopt these technology in order to provide the auditing services and other services. And we for the same thing, we have the concept of IT audit and system audits, which you guys are aware of. Then I have mentioned about own practice and as a profession. Now what if we want to bring a transparency at organization level? That recently I have noticed many times students, members or faculty are not happy with a particular type of system from the organization call. Or let's take the example of C Institute. Then what can be done there? Like if I take a simple example of bank audit allocation, like they want to develop a system where with transparency and fairness, bank audit can be allotted to the eligible members in a seamless manner. Then they can use a blockchain technology, develop a chain of blocks. I will not get too much in too much detail in blockchain. If someone want to know, then I will explain it otherwise. Otherwise it will become a very long topic, blockchain. But main idea is the blockchain removes the third party, and it uh, brings the transparency that it will be visible to all the stakeholders. So all the transaction will be visible to all the stakeholders, and until unless majority of the stakeholder didn't accept that transaction don't get processed. So this kind of system can be used, and its example is that many state governments are using it for the land allocation, like a land auction, which was despite being online, there were some big level of settings where land was allocated to the preferred person. But now this can be removed by the blockchain, where all thing can be done in very transparent manner. Now moving next, this is the very interesting. You all must have agreed कि this was the relational data, we can do this, we agree to this कि हाँ इससे ये हो सकता है, वो हो सकता है. लेकिन मैं जो आगे कह रहा हूँ, हो सकता है आप मेरे से इस बात से बहुत ज्यादा एग्री ना करें, बट आई विल ट्राई टू explain the concept technology behind and a real world example कि ऐसा भी हो सकता है क्या. What if you see is talking to a client, and by the time call disconnects, its ITR its ITR and its portfolio analysis is done by the system automatically. If I just ask if this happens, then how will this professional respond? Just let me know. Like if you are in practice, if I ask you if something like that happens, how big advantage it will be for you? Are you there, or anyone is responding? Just let me know. Okay, then let me explain कि ये कैसे होगा, then you will get the fair idea. Like if you must have seen the Alexa, what Alexa does. If you give a if you do say कि Alexa switch off the light, then in Alexa's database it finds key what is meant by switch, then what is meant by off, and what is meant by light, and combining that there is a trigger point. If this is the command provided to him, then this action should be initiated and it performs. So similarly, what we can do, like we are in a call with a client, and whenever and that call can be easily converted into text. Everyone knows that we can convert a whole conversation in a text. So in the background, what will happen? Data will be collected from call, it will be converted into the text, and then what further happen? Then text, then from text, keyword search mechanism will be applied. If this word is used and this amount is used, then it will automatically there will be a structure, like if someone says ki my income is this, then automatically from that text, that data will be auto populated in that table using triggers. Then he mentioned about the LICs and other thing. Then same thing will happen from keyword. It will go directly to the table and in relevant column. So by the time you finish, you can have a simple sample ITR calculation. Oh, these were the things which I had with my clients, and this is the record. And same thing can be applied in the portfolio analysis. Like same client, you got you have prepared the balance sheet of the same client, and you are doing it on a call. You just answer few things, what are your earnings, incomes, or you can do it by bots also. With that there is a auto generated bot. What does that, what he does that, he will ask, tell me your income, then you will tell, then automatically data will be uh, figured there, and a table will be created. And similarly, the applying the logics of finance and investing and portfolio, a sample portfolio will be generated. Again, it will not eliminate the expertism of a professional. There will always a professional judgment there, and it will be same in that case. Then professional judgment can be applied. In this case, this will not be the suitable option. Then you can always adjust. Then another example of that can be, we find very difficult to maintain or get the MRL, management representation letter from client in some of the topics. And if we use this audio, then what we can do is that then again audio will be converted in text. Then according to keyword, it will be classified in a relevant table or relevant proportion, and we can understand that this was the conversation and this was the response received to me. And same thing can be applied everywhere. Although I know कि you people must not be agreeing कि यार ऐसे थोड़ी होता है या ऐसे थोड़ी हो जाएगा, but I am telling this can happen and this will happen. And another example of and now coming to the next example, what if many of times we have to search the relevant sections, case laws, and if this is not applicable and not available at the same place, and even if it's available at same place, that case law can be while this I have to read this case law, I also have to read this provision or this section from that. Then how we can do that? Although I understand that this will be a tedious task to create a database once, but once it's created, like if we take the example of Netflix have so many number of data available, so many number of video available, but out of my user pattern or my behavior pattern, they start showing me or start recommending me the content which might be suitable for me. The same thing will happen key out of that data. You mentioned a keyword, information related to that will be available there. Then again recommendation system will work, and it will also share key. Apart from that, you can also consider these points. And one more thing, like we always face issues in calculating HRA. There are 3-4 formulas, then leave encashment, then all. Then applying the same IVR logic and audio to text conversion, what you can do, you have created an IVR, basically a bot. He will ask question ki tell me the rent paid, you answer 10,000, and you answered ki what is the HRA received, then uh, data will be there, and then he will automatically put the data in right place and analyze it, and then tell, automatically calculate, and then tell ki this will be the eligible HRA for the deduction. Then again, I have already mentioned the example of graph method where you can identify the related party transaction. Then there is another application where you can use the augmented reality. What is augmented reality means ki creating a illusion or creating a video of that much quality that it is giving you the real experience. So based on that, uh, we can apply it for some physical verification and other things. Then again, there is a concept of signature validation, or you want to know that at what time this was validated, and whether the transaction was processed earlier, validation came later, or anything came later. Then there is system blocks which I have mentioned. Then you can track from there, and you can also verify the signature, that this signature is of the same person or not, and done on the same time or not. So one thing, I hope ki my possible ways, and these are the my possible ways which I can think of. This list is not complete. It can be so long. You people are working on that. You can tell me that ki I face this issue, this issue, and what, and is there any way we can automate it? Then I will try to answer and find a way where I can provide you these solutions. So I hope my suggestion must have done the one solution. The CA professional and CA student um, face a lot of issue with time. So it can significantly reduce the time because the processing and computing part are done automatically, and it is processed automatically. So a significant time can be used. And this is the my recommendation कि what kind of technology you people should be aware of and you should think of. Then you can take a note of it, and you should search on that key. Then you will get to know the more idea what else can be possible in my profession or a business in whole, like machine learning, artificial intelligence, blockchain, IoT means Internet of Things, augmented reality, Python, Hadoop, Tableau. And all must be wondering ki I have told only about the positive sides of data also. Are there any challenges or any risk associated to it? So I see two challenges. First one is environment related issue, which IT technologies or IT hardware releases the carbon emission, which is not good for the um environment. So and how it does ki there are data centers where data is stored in the physical form, so we can access it by cloud, but data in background it is uh, stored in digital sorry hardware form in the data centers, which releases the carbon, and that should be reduced. Then another big challenge and big talk is there about this data privacy and data security. So there is a lot of work going on it, but what I can tell only one thing is that uh, data is just like mutual fund, it is subject to market risk. I also say the same thing for the data. Data is subject to market and public risk. It can be exposed in public. However, it is not that easy to do, which you are understanding in layman term. Ki it can be done like this and that, but it doesn't happen that easily. There need to be matlab, there can be a scam in security or privacy, but data breach by a normal person from a normal user, I don't think it happens very frequently until unless there is some negligence from our side. Then my view is that in future post COVID, I see that once the post COVID era starts, data era will start and coding will be the new normal. If you guys think coding is tough and it is not for my profession, then I feel it's a myth. And after some time, everyone would be using it, whether you will call it a code or not. You will be doing in some simpler form, but everyone will be using it and doing it. And then another thing which I see ki, uh, in next few years, what will happen that there will be many video content creators and very less audience. Means video content providers are there, but I have to choose कि यार किसका कंटेंट देखूं, ये मेरे लिए रेलेवेंट है या नहीं है, कैसे नहीं है, तो मुझे जो पूरी वीडियो देखनी पड़ती है. तो what I will be doing for myself, for some time later I will be using a keyword search mechanism in video. What it will do, कि like in video, these were the topics called, so it will create a database of number of words, then again it will be converted it into uh, text. Then out of text I will use the map reduce, which will let me know कि out of these texts this was the most frequent word and that was the time for being it was told. So I will get the idea कि in this video this is the content and this is the thing which I want, and if I am interested in that kind of content, and then I will do, otherwise I will just simply leave that video and don't post. And one another thing कि if you people are thinking कि हमें क्या फर्क पड़ता है टेक्नोलॉजी से, हमारा काम तो चल ही रहा है, so that is also a myth. अभी चल रहा है, हो सकता है आगे अच्छे से ना चले या चलता तो रहेगा, but basically growth at which we are targeting won't be achieved that easily. So that's it from my side. Thank you everyone for patient listening, and I hope this session was useful, and let me know any doubts if you people have.
Thank you so much, Weber, for the wonderful deliberation. It was really a learning experience. Even that HSN wala thing that you have touched upon here for the analysis, this was really missed, I think, by almost all the professionals in the industry. Even we used to miss the same, and we'll be using your suggestion in our upcoming JST audits as well, as you have suggested. So really, thank you. I think you have covered almost all the queries during the session itself. So yeah, thank you, Weber, and thank you all the attendees for being a part of this webinar.
So in case
Thank
like
you.
you mentioned ki you want ki is there a specific kind of solution for my kind of problem, then anyone can just email me or drop a message in LinkedIn with his or her query. I will try to figure out and will try to provide the what best possible solution it can be for you.
So yeah, Weber, can you please share your mail ID to everybody?
It's mentioned in the starting itself.
So this is the Weber's mail ID. You can directly mail him if in case you have any query or you want some solutions on data analytics. Surely he'll help you out. So with this, I'd like to end the session. Thank you everybody. Thank you, Weber. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Vanika, and providing me the platform. And thank you to all the attendees who have been with us till this long session. So thank you, everyone. So that's it.
Thank you so much.